In this tutorial I will show how to create an intersection and some basic settings for an intersection. There will be another tutorial to show how to define every detail in an intersection, but I will not go through them in this video. Okay, so in the last video we created a new small road, so I will add another one that crosses this one. So okay, define a road with a small curve, then double click on that one, and in the elevation of that road you can see here a small dash. This shows where the other road is crossing that one, so what I will do is adjust the height so they cross correctly at the same height. Okay, then okay that, and if you zoom you can see that you have a crossing between the first road and the second road. As you can see here, the second road is quite wide. This means we did not change the section. So we'll go back to the editor, double click on the blue line, and in the section I will select the section we created for the first road. Then OK that, OK again. Now the intersection is generated with the new section of that road, and we will go in the editor to see what we can do. So if you click on Edit intersection, you have a lot of settings you can have for this intersection. So the first one is the size of the intersection, the length of each leg of the intersection. I will not change that now. You can also change the shape of the intersection, the boundaries between the carriageway, the sidewalk, and banking and cutting of the intersection. You can go in road texture. You can change the resolution of the image that will be used to show the texture or the marking of the intersection. You can go in the texture editor to define some basic markings. You have no one at the moment, but you have here a button to automatically generate some marking. I will do that with the default settings and zoom. If you click on one line, you can see that you can actually edit it and move it. So in that editor you can do a lot of detailed editing of the marking of the intersection. I will not do that now, but please use that editor to do your intersection marking. Okay, so you see that it's updated in that screen too. The next tab is about editing the texture for the sidewalk and cutting and banking. So as you can see, it's some concrete for the sidewalk. It's not the same as we did for the road, so I will select the same texture as for the road. If I zoom, you can see that it's not quite straight, so you can change the angle here. Sorry. Okay, and adjust to straighten up things. You can change the scale too. Okay, the next tab is about the drive path. A path is where a vehicle will go in the intersection. If you select an entry point, you can see that you have 3 paths activated, one to go to the right, one to the left, one straight. Each available path has a weight. A weight is the chance the vehicle will take that path when entering the intersection. As you can see, for the B, which is straight, it's a weight of 10. For the left and right, it's 5 and 5, so same chance to go left and right, and more chance to go straight. You could say it's something different from 0 for doing a U-turn, but I will let that at 0. Stopping points are to define where vehicles will stop before actually entering the intersection. So if you have a stop sign or want the vehicle to stop, it will stop first where you define that stop point. This is the straight line in the middle of the path. So if you move it, the vehicle will first stop where you define that line. Okay, and you can do that for each of the paths of the intersection. The next tab is a queue length. A queue is a queue of vehicles, so that means the number of vehicles that will be waiting in a specific path when you start the simulation of the traffic. So for example, let's say I want 5 vehicles waiting to go right, to make a right turn from here. I want 1 vehicle for the left, and let's say 4 vehicles going straight. And it will be generated randomly when you start the traffic simulation. The traffic control is to define how vehicles will behave in the intersection. So the first switch is if you want an intersection with signals or just a stop or yield type of control. So let's say I do not select signal first. I click on an entry of the intersection, and I can change the control type for that entry. You can say stop, so cars will always stop before going into the intersection, or give way. The car will maybe not stop, but gives away to other cars crossing the intersection. And uncontrolled is just the basic yielding process. So let's say stop. Okay, and now I will just go quickly through the signals. When you select signal, you cannot change the control of an entry of the intersection. They are all controlled by the traffic signal. Basically, you could still change for one pass with override if you want the vehicles going in that way, ignore the traffic signal and just go with any other traffic rule. When you select signal, so this is what I've done, you have another tab which is enable. In that tab you can select for each phase of the signal the time of each phase, so the number of seconds the signal will be green or red. You can add phases if you have a complex intersection. The phase summary is just a summary of the timing of the signals. I will not go in detail about that, but I hope this gives you a good overview of how to edit an intersection. So I will OK that and go back to the 3D view. Something useful to know in the plan view, if you double click somewhere, it will set the camera position where you clicked. So when you OK that view, your camera will actually look at where you clicked. Okay, so this is the intersection I've just created.